This isn't my permanent background or anything, I'm just at my girlfriend's house for the next few days, so these next few videos will have this background. Metro Boomin has been on the trap scene for quite a few years now, pretty much since the huge plummet into like stardom that trap rap had. Metro Boomin was one of the guys that was part of it, producing for artists like Travis Scott, 21 Savage, many more I could name. I'm not gonna act like I'm the biggest fan of Metro Boomin's sound, but actually, you know what? Out of all of the years that trap has been taking over in the mainstream, I must say whenever Metro Boomin gets on a beat, you're gonna find a pretty damn good beat. Even if the song overall isn't great, the beat's probably gonna be good. Not All Heroes, where CAPES is a full studio album from the guy. This actually is something that he doesn't usually typically do. Usually his full albums are with one artist, or in fact he will just be production credits on perhaps a few tracks here and there on an album. I think it's fair to say to have that that assumption going into this album isn't too far off, considering you've got quite a variety of features all over this thing. I mean, you're not really getting one typical style. You've got Drake, you've got Offset, you've got Travis Scott, you've got 21 Savage, you got Gunna, you got Young Thug. You know, it's not really one specific type of artist. All of these artists are quite different, even if they are kind of coming from the same tree, if you will, or whatever. And actually, you know what? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I actually sort of somewhat enjoyed this project overall. Wouldn't say it's anything special. I wouldn't really say there are, like, you know, amazing, great tracks on here, but there are quite a few solid tracks that I definitely think are worth your time. Kicks off with Gucci Mane on the track. I like the beat. I think Gucci Mane kind of does his thing. It's pretty by the numbers for him. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I like Drop Top Wop that came out last year, but generally his work isn't really kind of for me. He's quite derivative with his style, doesn't really switch things up, but I imagine any Gucci Mane fan at this point will know that he doesn't really change things up, so this is going to be for anyone that likes him, and even still it ends up being a pretty solid track. One thing you're going to notice with this release though, Travis Scott, 21 Savage take up a bulk of the features. Not entirely sure if that's because they've collaborated with Metro Boomin in the past so much that, you know, a Metro Boomin album just has to have those artists on anyway. Kind of like the idea that it would be silly not to have those two artists on a Metro Boomin album so frequently. And it doesn't exactly drag down the project. I mean, I've spoke before that I'm not the biggest 21 Savage guy, but the features that he comes out with on this one, I could easily be convinced that 21 Savage is actually pretty damn good. I mean, you know that it's 21 Savage every time he comes on. Like, he's just got that trademark style. And I don't know if it's just these tracks, but I've certainly found that there's actually a lot to like with his flow, his delivery. I mean, as soon as Gunna comes on this album, I'm like, yeah, this could be anyone. But you can't take away from 21 Savage that he's got one of the most unique voices in the trap game. Not to say that the Gunna track is actually that bad, I think it sort of sounds pretty decent, and Gunna himself doesn't sound overtly terrible, at least not as bad as fucking Lesbian. Young Thug is on that track too. Thugger, what are you doing? This is I fell in love with a lesbian and like she broke my heart and all that kind of crap. I mean, it might be a true story, and I guess that would be pretty heartbreaking to find out you fall in love with someone and it turns out that they have no interest in you whatsoever. Yeah, but fuck. I just can't think of a least interesting song topic to have, and again, like, he doesn't really utilize his style on this track. You know, Young Thug is best when he's all over the place with his flow, his whelpy yelps, and then you've got Gunna on here too, just sounding generic as fuck. Yeah, this has got to be the worst track here. As for 21 Savage, as I said, 10 freaky girls. Few bad lines in that track, I must say, but overall, I think the entire sound of the song is pretty damn catchy overall. He goes on this whole tirade where he's rhyming words like brandy, randy, candy, and he somehow slips in a line where he's in Bikini Bottom with Sandy. Come on, dude. But going to him for lyrics is probably the worst choice you could do because, again, he sounds great on this track, as does he on the other track on this album where he really shines as well. Don't Come Out the House, which I think it might be the best track here, honestly. Like, seriously, I mean, there is that whispery part that probably could have been cut out, but I just think, like, the bluntness and, like, what he's rapping about is pretty hard. Like, there's a bit of like a fear factor to the way he delivers some of the lines on that track. I just appreciate for what it is, like what he's going for and what ends up being executed are matched perfectly. Like there's no gap in the sense that, oh, he's rapping about this like hard lifestyle and he sounds like a corny idiot. Like, no, there isn't that element of it at all. He actually sounds pretty dark, you know? The beat that comes in as well, like, holy shit, Metro Boomin does a great job with the beat here. So catchy, so sticky to me. I just find a lot of enjoyment out of this one. Same again where he comes through on the track No More with Travis Scott, Kodak Black. Sure, the track overall is dragged down because Kodak Black's voice is the worst, honestly. I can't stand that nasally, like, there's just something like always stuck in the back of his throat or something. He just sounds fucking shit every time he pops up on a track. And the fact that he's known to be a controversial guy, he drops this line where he's like, if I were to do it all again, I'd make the same mistakes. Really proving that no matter how many mistakes you can make, people are just completely stupid and inept of understanding that they have made mistakes. Really proving that no matter how much people may want to blame external factors for the way their life has gone, they are still sometimes stupid enough to not realize that they may have made mistakes and this could be their fault and they're not willing to change. It's just great, isn't it? I just love humans. Aside from that though, again, there are a few other good tracks here, significantly you know, outstanding ones. Actually, as well, you know, it's a weird project for me because, you know, I've ended up coming out of this album praising the people that I typically don't like that much, which is a bit weird. You know, I've already been praising 21 Savage, but Sway Lee comes on a few tracks here, and I think he sounds pretty good. The whole of Borrowed Love, I mean, his singing on this one is pretty damn nice. The whole melatonin, like, that is really nice to listen to. It's something I don't usually praise him for. But I've got to admit, he does a good job on that one. The closing track too, with Offset and Drake. Drake does a pretty good verse to close out the album. I think, you know, it probably could have ended with something a bit better than Drake. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Drake, and even though I'm willing to admit that he has a lot of great tracks, and even on this track he sounds good too, it just probably could have ended a bit better. You know, considering this is actually a Metro Boomin album, and he's a great guy in terms of putting together samples and tracks. There are a number of good samples actually used on this album, particularly on the track No More. But with that in mind, you would think that maybe he could have just ended off this album with an instrumental, like a straight up, greatly produced beat from the guy. It probably could have been a perfect way to end this off. And I know you're going to want Drake on your album in 2018. It's the it factor to draw people in, but as the final closing moments, probably could have been a bit better. However, you know, I'm praising this album quite a bit, but overall, there are too many things that just drag it down. Like, you know, the Travis Scott interlude, which honestly sounds like Kanye. Like, it sounds like auto-tuned Kanye singing. And I know Travis and Kanye have been, like, linked for years now, and they've influenced each other quite a bit, but it's just a pointless interlude, even still. Like, I just don't know why it's even here. Track Only You with Wizkid, J Balvin, and Offset. What a load of crap this one is. I mean, it's just straight up dancehall type trendy stuff that just fails to ignite anything within me whenever I hear it in the charts or even here on a Metro Boomin album. Just sounds out of place. The beat sounds basic as fuck. I swear I could make this same beat in 10 minutes and I have no idea how to craft a beat on any type of, you know, engineering music software or whatever, but I'm sure I could have found a way to make this. It's a pointless cash grab on a dying out trend that's in the mainstream right now. it just sounds worse as time goes on, to be honest. So yeah, there are a number of tracks that do pull this down, but overall I'd say there are more tracks I like than dislike. So I can't really complain too much. There are a good number of tracks here that I like. I feel like some people going into this won't have as much enjoyment. I could see that happening. But yeah, I'm okay with this. It's alright. Gonna go 6 out of 10. Pretty decent. Nothing amazing, nothing special, but the tracks that are good stand out quite well, so I'll take it for what it is. Let me know your thoughts if you've heard this. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews if you haven't already. Have a good day. Comment below and all that. Goodbye. Have a good day.